my camera on. Let's get rolling. Excited this morning. Hot off the press. We've got the one and only Mr. Chris M. Walker. Glad to have him on here. Let me pull some of this stuff off of here. Boom, I'll shut that off. And let me get this off of here as well. Trash this. Boom, there you are. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good.
So you got the summer growth going. You're looking.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it that much credit. I just haven't.
All right. Well, hey, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on as a guest. We got some folks on, which is great.
Am I going to be able to see the chat? Because I can't right now.
Let's see. This is the chat will come up as soon as there we go. We got some people on as well. So there's Monterey. Yes. All right. Hey, folks. So we've got Chris Walker here with us today. We're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. If you have any questions, throw them up in the chat. Throw a yo-yo up there. Hey, Russell. I was just talking with Freddie.
Sorry for your loss.
Earlier this morning here on sorry for my loss on Facebook Messenger. So good to see things are rolling. So Chris, the last time we rolled together, I think we were down in Scottsdale back in April for SEO spring training, which was so great. You and I have, well, I'll say known, right, for quite a few years now. I had to be, when you launched Legiit, and we'll get into kind of that backstory a little bit, but when you launched that, which was what, end of 17, beginning of 18?
February 7th, 2018.
2018. So I had to be one of your at least top 50. I don't know how many people signed on initially, but I know in February, I think of 18 as I opened an account and became a seller of services on Legiit. So, and ever since then, I think even prior to then, I've watched, I learned from you and a bunch of SEO through your SEO, superstar SEO training. I'm trying to remember the training site that you had. That was great.
Yeah. You by the way, you registered on February 14th, 2018. So instead of paying attention to your wife on Valentine's Day, you were saying.
Well, my wife, knowing my wife, she'd be like, well, I'm glad you were out trying to make money. So that was good. Yeah. So Chris and I I've known of him. We've chatted for many times over the years. And, but yeah, just though this spring was the first time we got to meet face to face. So that was great. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great to hear you present. I don't know. Do you do a lot of presenting, or have you? I don't see you. That's the only one you've ever done. I was going to say, I don't see you around the circuits a whole lot. So
I've been invited to a few others, but no disrespect to anybody. I just don't find it to be as efficient of a use of time as possible, because you have to travel and you have to be there. And I can get more done just by turning on my camera and talking to people, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I enjoy it because I do, but I just, business comes first.
Yeah. And you do a lot when you talk about, turn your camera on and chat a lot. You do a fair amount. You kind of took a little breather for a while, for a period of time, it seemed like, but now you're back into it.
Yeah. It just depends on how much time I have going. So like I need to do it more because it's very effective and I enjoy it. So those are kind of the two things I decide on if I'm going to do something or not. So.
Yeah. I will tell you, so years ago when I was kind of really learning more and more, I landed on you. I don't even know how, somewhere. I couldn't even tell you exactly where. YouTube, maybe. I don't know. Because it was before Legiit popped up. And one of the things that I loved about you that I truly appreciate, and I think just as you had mentioned, it's more effective. You can talk to more people and help more people. I always think that was always a hallmark with you. And if people ask me, hey, what do you think of Chris or whatever? I'm like, that guy will share and give information so freely. And I believe, you've got a true passion and heart to help people and to help them build their business, be independent, do whatever success, that they want to measure as being successful. But you've just always been a free and open resource. So I know you've helped me over the years, tremendous ways. And so for everybody else, I'll just say, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate your openness and willingness. It's truly appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. So for folks that may not know kind of your background, you've got a great video on your Facebook page, and go check out that kind of gives the story of Chris, which is great. But I will set a little bit. You graduated from college. You landed I'll just say a computer software job of some sort, programming. I'm not exactly sure what you were doing. But you were there, you had college debt, probably not making nearly the amount of money and lifestyle that you wanted. And probably felt it was more of a grind than anything else. And then you opened the door somewhere into affiliate, and that just kind of affiliate marketing, and that just kind of set the path ablaze for you. And I don't know, fast forward, I don't know how many years, and you launched Legiit, as we said, back in February of 18. So, dude, what a journey.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually credit card debt that made me look into making more money online. I still have student debt because I refuse to pay more than the minimum on it, because fuck them, honestly. I don't know if I'm
hey, you say whatever you want. Hey, well, you keep hanging on, and this administration is just going to forgive your student debt at some point anyway. So,
but yeah, but I was, it wasn't just the money, and it was an IT support job, by the way. It wasn't even as cool as programming, so you made me even cooler than I was. But no, it was an IT tech support job for a real estate developer. And I just want to add, and whenever I talk about this, it comes off like I hated the job. And I like all the people there, and I'm still friends with them. And sometimes I've said this, and it comes off as bad as them. So if any of them happen to be watching, it was me and not you. So, I've often felt bad because I feel like I'm putting them down, but it wasn't that. So anyway, so I wasn't making enough to get by, and I was miserable doing what I was doing. And I stumbled on this old blog that had used to be like a professional wrestling blog, but like the guy that owned it had quit or whatever. And he just had a one-page like site there of what he was doing now, and he was talking about how he was making his living through affiliate marketing. And I'd never heard of that before. So I started, I was like, that sounds cool. Stay at home, make money. That sounds like something I could get on board with. And I started researching that, and one thing led to another. I found the Warrior Forum, which was I think it still exists, but it was like a forum back in the day. And I bought a couple of courses through there and started a site, made a little money off of that. And then I think it was October 2014 that the first Penguin update came out. And I didn't realize what I was doing was called SEO at the time. I just knew that I was getting money from affiliate marketing, and I was ranking in Google. And then that came out, and it completely destroyed my rankings, and I had no more money again. So I finally started making some, and that went away. So I tried different things. I bought a course called Source Phoenix that helped me a lot, and that was really expensive for me at the time. And having to commit to that payment for that made me, I was like, if I'm going to spend this much money on it, I have to make it work. So I spent the time on that, and that's when I got into client a little bit, but I still wasn't really where I wanted to be. And by the way, with that client, I still had a day job, client work. I still had a day job. So I was having to take phone calls in the bathroom sometimes just to, because, I didn't want to get fired. And then another marketplace came out in 2015, and just on a whim, I listed a service on there that I resold from a $5 marketplace, and not expecting anything to come of it. And then one day I'm at the gym, and I get a PayPal notification on my phone, which was rare back then. It is now too, because I turned them off. But back then it was just because I'd never thought to turn them off. But I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, And I figured out it was a sale through that marketplace. And then that led to another one, into another one. And then the owner of that marketplace, and I'm not going to promote them because,
Yeah.
they don't exist anymore anyway. But anyway, the owner of that
I was
marketplace,
gonna say, I don't even think they're around anymore, are they?
the owner of that marketplace's partner
Yeah.
promoted another service I listed, and that made it take off. And that's when freelancing really kind of took off. And between that and a little bit of client and a little bit of affiliate I was doing, I finally had enough to quit my job and go full time, whatever, SEO, marketing, whatever you want to call it. And then after a while, that marketplace started going to shit. And I swear a lot, so I apologize in advance. But it started going to shit and getting hacked. It was crashing and becoming unreliable. And so I just started selling through my own site, through superstarseo.com. And I had met a bunch of the freelancers on that site that just through, proper networking. And they're like, well, can we sell stuff through your site too? Because this site's having all this problem. I was like, well, all right, sure. But that didn't really work out. But I also had a customer that I met at that time, which is Jim. I think you know Jim a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
And he owned a development agency. So we decided to, as a whim, almost on a whim, to start Legiit as like, it was going to be another project for my SEO business, Superstar SEO. But then almost quickly it became the #1 earner, and now it's kind of like the main focus. And it's been almost 6 years, so it's grown from there.
And just flying. How many with Legiit? How many sellers, freelancers do you have out on there now? Do you have a rough idea?
Depends on how you look at it. Like some of them aren't active anymore. Some of them are.
Right.
Tens of thousands. I really don't have a good number. So
amazing. Yeah.
Now that actually get sales, it's considerably lower than that because
sure.
And that's something we're addressing in the near future.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this live, check back next week and you'll see some really cool updates.
Nice. Well, for those, I'm going to even pop it up here. Hold on. So I can't imagine people would not know Legiit, but for those,
that was a fun moment for me at that conference we were at when Terry was like, "Who in the room has used Legiit?" And like literally the whole room raised their hand. Like I
know.
I got tears when that happened. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So. It's a great platform. Here's just some of the stuff, right? People, and you do it and I love kind of the direction where you're going with Legiit right now because of the way that you've organized it for folks. So just like this, like, hey, what is your project? And let's get it going forward, right? And then you click into here and it's going to show you some opportunities. The other thing that I love is that you're doing beyond, so like learning as well. And so just as you mentioned, hey, I was on somewhere and I took some courses, found some courses, and for me, I love to learn. I'm a part of probably too many different kinds of groups that I kind of tap into, and every day I'm always trying to learn something a little new or get information a little more to utilize in our own business now. But it's just so many different things happening in Legiit that I love.
If you come back next Monday, you'll see a huge change too. We're gonna relaunch like the entire design, and it's going to be focused more around the software that we've built in over the last 8 months, I guess.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and you even have, which is great even for like a small business owner, the dashboard, so to speak, that you can monitor a site and kind of monitor backlinks, monitor different kind of aspects of it. And I was going to ask you, because one of the other projects, and I guess you can give the story on this if you want, is Audit.io, which I couldn't figure out to show like the front page without logging in. It was like, oh, there's not a good homepage, so to speak, for Audit.io. So I'm like, well, this is my account on Audit.io. But where you can go in and do like full audits on sites as well. But are you utilizing any of this information? So on that dashboard that I was describing, is that kind of pulling some of that code or capability from Audit.io?
that function you see right there with the searches as that built into the
Yeah.
function.
So this piece in here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was smart.
Yeah, that came about when I was in Superstar Academy, my SEO course, which is not open for sale anymore. But
That's what I had. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I was doing audits for people in there, and I was doing them manually. I was like, this is kind of a pain in the ass. Maybe we should have a tool that does it. And I don't want to dunk on any of the other tools out there because they do things well too, and I like them. And I know their owners, but what I didn't like about a lot of them is they give you way too much information, and they give you their opinion in the information. So they'll, for example, common sense is that you have one H1 tag and then H2 and on down, but the data may not reflect that. So this tool actually just gives you the data without influencing it at all, and it does it quickly and just across like 10 different things, and that's it. So that's what I wanted, something that was simple and hit the main points and just gave you the information that you have to make the decision on, and not my opinion on what you should do with that information.
Right. So I think this is kind of interesting. So specifically, so you had the Legiit, you launched that in 18, early 18, and then that began probably nearly immediately began to explode and grow, and I don't. There's so many of these kind of platforms out there. I can't imagine that you're not certainly in the top 3, if you're not number 1, even in that. I know there's a big, cheap green Goliath out there, but I don't know. I have no idea what the numbers are around those, but huge popularity though of Legiit. When did you decide, hey, I'm going to take and go add to the portfolio of businesses, and not, because, it's not that you weren't busy enough, right? But you're like, hey, I'm going to take on this audit IO project because,
I mean, it happened that, like I said, I had the training and I was doing some audits for people, and it just occurred to me that would be something that would be valuable to people. And, some people in the crowd may not want to hear this, but it's really not that hard to have a SaaS like that built. It's probably cost $8-10 grand. I know that's a lot of money to some people, but it's really not that much of an investment to build something that can be tool. I haven't really ever promoted it much. Not like I should. Most of the people came through AppSumo when we did a deal on there.
Right.
I think it's helpful. Whenever I do promote it, it sells well. So.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I think I bought it, I think probably directly from you when you kind of put it out there and said, hey, boom. And like, okay, great. I'm going to buy the thing. I'm on the Prodigy plan, I think is what I am, which was great, but I'm on a lifetime, bought whatever the lifetime. I'm a big sucker for LTD. So you can throw just about anything at me for an LTD. I'm like, oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, I have too many of those too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't, it was a little bit the plan, but it wasn't really the plan. But now it's kind of coming together that we're integrating those all into one platform. And that's why I'm very specific in referring to Legiit as a platform and not a marketplace, because marketplaces are a dime a dozen. Like, every little kid in their parents' basement thinks that they can start one now, and really they can. So the margins just aren't there. So we wanted to do something different. So that's why we're building, and like this is integrated into it. My link shortening tool is eventually going to be integrated to it. Legiit Leads, our lead finding software, is going to be integrated into it. And eventually the marketplace is just going to be one of the components of Legiit. So you'll have everything you need to start, run, and grow your business. It'll give you AI-based suggestions on your site on what you can do better, things like that. So
I was just going to say on the Legiit Leads, I don't know if that's your most recent adventure, I'll call it, endeavor. I think I have your link shortening app as well. I think I have that. Legiit Leads. I don't remember if I have this one or not, but because this is fairly new, right? Maybe a year.
It's a couple years old. I haven't promoted it that much. Whenever I do, it sells well. But that's going to eventually be integrated right into Legiit as well. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
idea is kind of an all-in-one platform, and our goal is
Right.
to have every business on earth using our platform. Now that's obviously a big hairy goal, but that's kind of the goal, and that's how we make our
Yeah.
decisions. So
Yeah. 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 That's
I was
the
inspired by the Steve Jobs biography to think that way about it. So
very nice.
tidbit
Very
there.
nice. So, I will invite folks. Hey, if y'all who are engaged with us here, go ahead, throw your questions up for Chris, or just drop a howdy ho and say hey, and we'll hit some of these things. So, Chris, I am curious. I mean, you're involved in so many different kinds of things and have so many of these different projects. Have you always been kind of that entrepreneurial kind of spirit? I mean, what is the driver behind that? Is it so many different people have so many, different drivers, and like to go create, to be an entrepreneur, to make money, create a lot, whatever it is. I'm curious the background.
I mean, maybe because like I did try different things when I was a teenager and then in my 20s. I never really committed to being a business owner. I had a software business that didn't go anywhere for a while. I remember in the late 80s, I don't know if you remember this, but there was it was like sort of an LLM. It was kind of like before the internet type of make money online thing, where called the guy's name was Don Lapre, and like the program was where you put these tiny little ads and classifieds and drop ship stuff and sell stuff. And I bought that program, and I bought a few of those like that you would get from late night infomercials. So I guess maybe to some extent I have, but I don't know. Since this, I started when the first time I made money on the internet, I realized that was what I could do. That was kind of my way out. So I guess that's kind of the answer.
Yeah, that was like, wow, I like this. I like this money just kind of rolling in.
I did a lot of random ass stuff in the beginning too. Like I had an eBay store where I would like take stuff from Amazon Prime and then just mark it up on eBay and ship it directly from Amazon Prime to the people that bought it on eBay, which you're not supposed to do, by the way. I mean, it's not illegal or anything, but like it's against Amazon Prime terms of service, so you'll eventually get your Amazon Prime account shut down. But that happened. I was doing like surveys at some point where you just take surveys and you get paid like 35 cents for taking one. And I remember the first time I got like a $20 check because it took months. But I got like a $20 or $30 check for doing those, and I was excited about that. So I've done literally everything you can do except for like OnlyFans too, and I'm still. Other than that, I've done literally everything you can do to make money online. So.
Dude, people who have seen you or know you, and you actually even on your video, you have got the most massive Arnold Schwarzenegger-like calves. You could probably make money on OnlyFans just doing calf pictures.
Yeah. So, how's the weather there? I can't go one interview without that coming up.
That's good. So, with all of the different projects, I don't even know how many, but how do you then employ essentially, the marketing behind some of this stuff? And I guess, share with, I'm getting like am I getting like a selfie in there with you?
It's on Instagram. So.
So how do you drive the marketing behind? And I'm sure it's probably changed over the years that you've done with Legiit and some of your other projects. I mean, some of it, begins to, steamroll as you get more and more, and it just a little bit kind of gets on its own. But do you have a marketing plan now, I guess, in regards to some of your different platforms that you're employing? Is it SEO based, or is it, doing paid campaigns with what?
Yeah, I mean, that was a problem that we had. Well, I mean, there's a few different ways to answer this. First, the most successful thing I've done marketing for all of my businesses was communities, was creating communities around the business to where people are excited about them and want to be a part of them and buy from them. And like you, I have experience in that in a previous profession, not the IT one. I don't want to talk about what it is because off topic. I think we've talked about it before, but
yeah.
But that's probably my biggest strength as a marketer, and that was what started I hate analogies. This roll the snowball down the hill. That means like making it bigger, right? So yeah, terrible with analogies. but that's what started that. But yeah, we do. One thing that we had a problem with was doing and I learned this term from Ryan Dice from Digital Marketer, but one thing we had a problem with for a while was random acts of marketing. So we would do, this month we're going to try TikTok, and then this month we're going to do, and I don't know, I can't even think of another example, but
right.
We did a little bit of this and a little bit of that with no strategy. Now we have a kind of a concrete strategy. It involves most of the channels. We do paid advertising on the main channels. And then SEO is kind of the ongoing thing. It's not, I don't consider that marketing really. It's just kind of something you do as part of it, making your site better. You know what I mean? It's not,
right.
It is marketing in a sense, but it's not really marketing because you're not pushing something out there. You're just putting it there for people to find, I guess is kind of, that's why I don't think of it as marketing. But yeah, we do have a strategy. I don't want to get too much into the details. It's kind of beyond the scope of this.
Sure.
But yeah, I think the most important thing that anybody watching this can take away from that is don't fall into the trap of random acts of marketing. 1 week we're trying Quora ads, and then we're doing ads on Reddit, and then we had one like a few weeks where I was trying TikTok, and we were paying a consultant $5,000 a month and to help us with TikTok, and he was basically just editing the videos and made a few topics for me. And if he's watching, no offense, but it wasn't a good fit. And it wasn't a good fit either because for what works on TikTok does not fit my personality at all. These 10 websites are going to feel illegal to know that shit. So we heard that TikTok was the hot thing. So we tried that, you know what I mean? So you need to map out, and I have a video on mapping out processes in one of my groups, but you need to map out what you're going to do and then stick to it like it's chiseled in stone. Now, if something goes wrong and something's not working, then you can adapt, but don't just do something because you hear that's the new thing. And
right.
As much of a internet marketer as Ryan Dice is, that term really landed for me, that random acts of marketing. And I see a lot of people doing that. So.
Yeah. How long, so I've got a couple of different questions just as you've kind of explained a little bit of that, but how long do you pursue or go down a path? So maybe like, the example you shared about the TikTok thing and what you were doing with that at that point. How long do you go down? Now, for me, you were paying $5,000 a month. I was like, well, it wouldn't take me long to figure that one out because I'm cheap. But how long do you usually, though? Because there is a school of thought, and I do believe in it, that you do have to be patient a bit, right? You do have to, you can't just, the random act, so to speak. You can't like this week and now I'm doing this. And so you do have to put some time into it for it to really try to gain some momentum. Do you have a sense, have you seen kind of through your efforts, like, if it's not X number of months?
It would be nice if it was that cut and dry. It's not necessarily. The TikTok thing we did for 2 months, and I was like, not only was it costing us, that's a lot of money, but I was miserable making them because I was having to be like the person making them, and I just hated it so much. Like, I would record like 8 for the week, and it would take me 6 hours, even though they were like 30 seconds a piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that we abandoned pretty quick. Facebook ads, it took a long time to crack, but I knew that was a channel that would work. So we eventually found an agency that worked well for us in that regard, because it's not as cut and dry as it is for a lot of businesses where you just target an audience and then you say how much you're going to spend, and you just, like with it being a multi-vendor marketplace, there's a lot of moving parts that other ad agencies or other businesses don't have. But so we stuck to that for a lot longer. Same with Google ads. I don't have a strict, it's not working after X amount of time. Now I'm basically just sticking to stuff that everybody knows works. Facebook's ads work no matter what, like people that don't understand them say, where they do the, SEO is permanent, ads are temporary thing that you see on Twitter a lot. Anybody who says that Facebook ads don't work is wrong. They just don't know how to do them well enough to make them work. So if somebody tells you that the Facebook ads don't work for them, tell them that they're wrong and Chris is right, that they do work, that you just don't know them well enough to do it. So we basically, what the point I'm trying to make is we went in on channels that we know work and just stick to them until we make them work. So Google ads work, like that's unquestionable. Facebook ads work, that's unquestionable. SEO works, that's unquestionable. So those three, and then content marketing has been a big one for us too. So
yeah, you're doing some good stuff. I don't know. Are some of the articles, are they hosted here on Legit? Because I know I
If
see
you go
some
to
of the stuff.
legit.com/blog, we have thousands of articles there.
Is it on where
Legit.
on the Legit side?
Yeah, /blog.
Oh, slash blog. Okay. Yeah, because you guys like throw out some great content on all different kinds of things. And you help promote some of the services that are on the platform, as well as just explain. So I always love, back to Chris, just being a good teacher, right?
Yeah. Well, and the
Just
thing
try.
there is that all of the content on the Legit blog is written by writers on Legit. So like,
Mhm.
not only does that give them exposure and it gives people on the platform a chance for, forgive the term, we're getting high on our own supply. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it would look bad if we had now, to be fair, for Facebook ads, we do have an agency we work with, but it wouldn't look great if we didn't use our own people to do those things.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and let's be perfectly honest too, it's a discount that way too.
Yeah, it works. On the SEO side,
Mm.
uh, like Legit is it's a massive site. Uh, well, actually, I don't. Let me kind of rephrase this. Are you, when you're thinking about from a marketing standpoint, are you building and thinking about the platform and building that brand? Are you building Chris Walker still as a brand? And then what it is that you're promoting, such as the Legit platform? Kind of what is, your approach these days, I guess?
Not quite sure what you're asking.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Are you still promoting Chris Walker, the brand, the SEO superstar, or?
Those are apparently I haven't done a good enough job there, but I think of those as three separate brands: as Superstar SEO,
Okay.
Chris and Walker. I cringe when I refer to myself as a brand, but it is what it is. And then Legit, that's the other brand.
Yeah.
I don't do a ton with Superstar SEO. I mean, I still make very good money from it, from the software, the training, and the services that I sell. But
Yeah.
I spend maybe 2 hours a week on that. The Chris and Walker brand, I have a consulting offer, and that's really the only thing there. That's more as like an umbrella for the rest of it, and then Legit's kind of the main business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Good. Now I'll talk on the SEO side. Do you do some of the standard kind of SEO practices? I mean, you've got your site, which I can't even imagine from an SEO and like managing, kind of the on-page aspects of that, because of just what I'm looking at the site with all of the vendor listings and categories and everything else. I would think would just be a big bowl of spaghetti you're trying to
Yeah,
figure out.
strictly SEO speaking, is the biggest challenge I've ever had by far, because it's so much different than anything else that you have to do. Because you don't control the content really. You know what I mean? Like somebody could get a service page ranking for a great term, and then they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
So there's a lot of challenges like that. So what I figured out was to treat it as a hybrid of an e-commerce site, because a lot of the structure is similar categories and products and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, but also as a social media site, because a lot of the content is user generated content. So you don't control it. You know what I mean? So
Right, right.
those are kind of the two things I did. And what we learned the hard way was if the service page is ranked, like that's great. But what we have to focus on is the categories and the site itself and the blogs, and then other assets that we can build. Like we have influencer pages and we have some other things that we control. So they won't go away when that particular freelancer just decides to disappear or whatever, that maybe that doesn't work anymore, whatever.
Right.
So that was the hardest lesson for SEO for the site, was to focus on the assets that we control. Because in the beginning we ranked for a bunch of stuff, and then we got hit with the December 2020 update. I never could figure out but and then we gradually came back, and then we had to remove a bunch of services because of one of our payment processors. And since then, we've gotten back to the heights beyond what I ever could have dreamed as far as SEO. And it's been by focusing on just basics like technical SEO and site structure, but also on focusing on assets that we control.
Right. Yeah, I can't even imagine. Do you do stuff off page, typical kind of SEO stuff, building backlinks.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's much different than I would recommend any others, like anything that I've shown publicly. But yeah, we still do a little bit of that. It's more of the only thing I can really say about it is we do like really high PR type of stuff, high quality PR type stuff. Like when I do a Maxim profile, like I have a profile in Maxim, and I would say a profile like they did a piece on me. That was largely to get links to my stuff because those are incredibly powerful links.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. Nice. All right. Hey, folks, drop some questions in to Chris. Anything going on? How about, and I know you do good backlinks. You've got a bunch of great services that you're providing out there on the platform. How about just some, share from your experience, maybe how you address, I don't know, what's one of your favorite topics? I was going to like how you address either a local business and what would be, some top 3 things you might focus on from a local business to help from a ranking and help drive leads for those folks. Or you could like say a new website, but thinking about some of the things we'll hear from Chris, the teacher here on SEO.
Fundamentals. Everybody wants to like find like secret hacks and
I know
stuff like that. It's like focus. The fundamentals will get you 80% of the result. Most of the time, you have to do. By fundamentals, I mean like basic on page, basic technical, and foundation links. And when I say foundation links, I don't necessarily mean literally foundation links, but like the main stuff like your social profiles, citations if they're applicable, things like that. Like building all of that stuff will do 70-80% of the work for you in most niches. Now, once you get into the more competitive stuff, then you're gonna have to try a little harder. But before you get into all that fancy stuff and even the expensive stuff, do all of that and get it all in place. So
I am kind of curious. So when you say like the more hard or fancy stuff, or what's an example of something like that? That to go that extra 20% from the 80% good to.
You mean the niche or like
no. So you were saying like, hey, if you do all the off page,
then you get into like really expensive links or guest posting and stuff like that. And you can get 75 to 80% of the way there to just the stuff I talked about. Then you can get into like PBNs and guest posts and niche edits. And I'm sure some white hat in the crowd just cringed, but you can do those, and that will, in most niches, that will be enough. If you need more than that, that's when you have to get into like stuff like PR links and things like that. And I know that's kind of a thing that you kind of do well with is PR, but I don't just mean press releases, but I mean like high-end press.
Yeah, the digital. Yeah.
Those, in my opinion, are the most powerful things you can get for SEO right now because they'll often rank all on their own, and then they're obviously a strong link too. And then there's some other odds and ends you can do here and there, like guest post stacking and things like that.
Yeah. Good. All right. Simon's got a question here. Legiit has a lot of well-established sellers now. Is it too late to start selling there with 0 reviews? And if so, any tips for getting started?
Definitely not too late. I mean, we have people sign up every day. A lot of them don't get any traction because they just try to come over from some $5 marketplace and copy and paste what they did there. That's not good enough for our customers. Our customers are too smart for that. But and we have a lot of resources that you can check out. Maybe Randy will link to those or something. But the most important things are to remember that it's a business. So freelancing has been portrayed as a side hustle where you just have to put in minimal effort and sign up and then sales will fall on you. That's not what I wanted my platform to be, and that's part of the direction we're changing in. But if you put in some time into a service that people actually want and you make it look good and you make it good sales copy, good images, good visuals, things like that, and then you get it in front of people via the channels that we give you or your own audience, then yes, you can start that. But if you're thinking that I'm just going to list this service and put up 10 words of a description, that's not going to work. It's probably not even going to get approved, but even if it does, it's not going to work. Like we get that a lot is people, I hate it when we get, and I shouldn't say hate it. A lot of times we'll get like some influencer will make a video. Here's 3 websites where you can earn X amount of dollars starting today, and then they'll list us, and they mean well, but we'll get a lot of really low effort people coming on and like just copying and pasting something they got from, I'm trying not to mention their name, but from a $5
Right. Yeah.
and stuff like that. Not because I don't know that, not because I don't think people know who I'm talking about, but I can get in trouble if I say something that's not true. Yeah. But they copy from there, and it just doesn't work because we have a more sophisticated type of customer, and they assume that because sites like this site that, you know, it's going to work that way, and it doesn't. So, but if you think like a marketer and an entrepreneur and a business owner and actually build out a service that people legitimately want and portray it in a way that is professional and is something that people will respond to and trust by seeing it, then you have a much better opportunity. So that was kind of a long answer, but hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think something that you just really briefly touched on, which I think actually is the right mindset, is you've got to treat it as a business, not just as some listing. And so, you know, if you think about how do you promote a business, how do you create some traction or some enthusiasm around your business, and how do you sell it, right? How do you position your business as a product? You take that mindset on instead of just saying, here's the service and wait for it to happen. It is a much more proactive approach, I think.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think this happens in the real world a lot too, quote unquote.
Yeah,
yeah. Because people will, suppose you are somebody that's into, I don't know, maybe you're a chef or something. You think you just want to open a restaurant and cook food. But like just opening a restaurant doesn't entitle you to people eating there. Like people aren't just going to flock in because you opened. You have to, first of all, position it in a way that's presentable and makes people want to eat there, and then you have to go tell people about it. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, I see that you probably have clients like that too, where like they just want to do the thing. They don't want to make the business like fun. And to some extent, that's our job. But I'm trying not to be too harsh on clients. But as a business owner, your job isn't just to do the thing. It's to make sure that there are people paying you to do the thing. And a lot of people don't do that. And for whatever reason, freelancing has been portrayed as a side hustle. So it's even worse there, because people just want to throw up a service and have an algorithm throw money at them for a low quality piece of crap. And like some sites have encouraged that and taught people bad habits. And unfortunately, we get compared to those sites. And that's one of the reasons we're changing direction. But yeah, you need to make, there's a quote, I think it's from Ray Dalio. It's something like, the world's not yet a crazy enough place to reward people that don't deserve it. And if you want the reward of making money and making sales, you have to deserve it. And just listing a crappy service that starts with "I will do blank for blank," you deserve it. So.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. I love that. And then let's see. Freddie's got on here as well. Yeah, oh yeah. Forget about Legiit Mondays. Opportunity for folks to post. You want to explain what that is, Chris?
Yeah, it's just, I talked about community earlier on. It's just a thing where on every Monday for 24 hours, we just turn on posting and people can post some of their services and explain to people why they should buy them. It's where a lot of people have gotten their first orders. You know, that said, we're probably going to pivot the way that works a little bit too. We haven't quite sussed out all the details, but yeah, that's one of the many opportunities that we give. If you search that group, you'll find tons of things where people have asked and this has been answered, you know.
Yeah.
To the point where some of our customers get tired of hearing it.
Yeah. So, and I love, because this is kind of along in this vein of conversation, and you mentioned it a couple of times now, communities. And I agree, and I think it's really kind of critical to build up that audience or build up those communities, I think, to help build your brand, promote your brand, promote your business. What kind of advice? So you've got great experience at doing it, both, you know, previous life and in existing world that you navigate in. What kind of, when you're talking about building a community, what does that mean to you, I guess? And what are some things that you have done intentionally to build those communities?
Not be an asshole is number one.
All right.
It's one of those things that like we should know that we don't do anyway, but unfortunately most people don't. But be someone that people like to be around and just be helpful. And it'll kind of, and promote it a little bit, but not in an obnoxious way. And that'll happen. Like the Superstar SEO Facebook group, it's one of the biggest SEO Facebook groups on Facebook. And I grew that mostly just by inviting customers to it. It's the growth on it has slowed down because we started putting up some barriers to entry because we're getting some spammers, but it's still like one of the largest ones. And that just started with me and like 5 other people and just posting, stuff that I thought was helpful and stuff that I was doing. And word of mouth just spread. And then eventually, at least online, that's usually when algorithms start to pay attention too, is when word is spreading that people like it.
Right.
They'll start showing it to people that they think will like it. So
yeah. Nice.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. I think because I think some people do just get a little stuck in thinking, okay, what are some real actionable things to do in order to build that community or build an audience and gather. And so
authentic is a big part of it. Like,
yeah,
it was a really popular marketing method maybe 2 years ago to start a group and do like a challenge in it and grow the group and sell high ticket coaching to the group. And I mean, that may have worked at the time. And I joined like one of the big groups for that, and they tried to sell me on their program, and I thought they were doing it all wrong. But I don't know. And maybe that works, but to me, that's not a community. That's just a different version of an email list. So like, don't be so transactional. You know what I mean? Like, make it like a community. Like, you go, I don't know, you take like a cooking class or something. You go there as much for the learning the skill as you do like getting used to people. I take a martial arts class, same kind of thing. So
yeah, I think you threw out the word transactional. I think you almost have to be devoid of thinking of transactional. And you mentioned as well authentic. I think you have to be like, we're authentically authentic. I'm stuck on it, but truly, genuinely trying to build a community to help and provide information and share resources, and not have an ulterior thought about, okay, I'm going to monetize this at some point. I'm going to create
coaches. They coach coaches to coach coaches that were building Facebook groups to do that. To them, it was just a marketing channel. And I try not to sound judgmental. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that, but to me, that's just kind of it's treating people like numbers, and I think that's disrespectful. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Hey, folks, any questions? Throw them out there. Oh, I always got to forget as well. Please kind of click the thumbs up if you like the show so far. Would appreciate some likes, and as well share and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Would love that. Or follow the News Guy channel here on Facebook would be great. I don't know, anything we haven't touched on, Chris, that you had thought about sharing? Or
I don't think so. I think you've been very thorough in covering everything that we discussed ahead of time.
Yeah. All right. Good. All right. Well, listen. What's the future hold for you? What's going on in the near future or long term even?
Well, Monday, God willing, we are relaunching the site. It'll have a completely new design, completely new focus, be much better, much more futuristic, much less like some $5 site. And I'm really, really excited about that. Probably 300-400 hours have gone into just the design of it. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, and that's not including the coding, which I don't understand at all. But so that's big. That'll be on. Again, things don't always work out. It was supposed to be tomorrow, but 14th is what we're hoping for. So be on the aware of that. That's business-wise. That's the big thing coming up. And then I have my first and probably only amateur kickboxing tournament in September. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Whoa! Really nice. Mm-hmm. Is that local there, where you are, or
2 hours away?
Okay. How long have you been training for that?
Well, I started training in the school I'm at now back in October, and then previously I had 5 years of Kung Fu, but that was over a decade ago. So
okay,
I just turned 45 and kind of want to prove that I can still do that sort of thing. I feel like if I don't do it, I'm going to regret it. And, at my age, and there's nothing wrong with doing anything at any age, but I feel like I'm on a clock too. So
we're always on the clock,
but
Yeah.
the clock going to get hit in the head if I'm not good enough at it.
All right. Doing any traveling beyond? I know you're not necessarily too big of a fan of traveling, but any conferences, anything else on the horizon you're thinking about?
No, nothing planned. No, I haven't had a vacation, like a vacation since 2019. So
Seriously? You haven't had a vacation? You haven't gone anywhere?
well, I mean, I went to a wedding once, and then I've gone to a couple of business functions. That's it. Of course, to be fair, like a year and a half of that, nobody was going anywhere. But,
well, that's true. That is true.
But,
Yeah. All right. Last question for me. And this is now kind of a running joke. And you can buy the T-shirt now, actually, on the Legiit merchandise site.
which will be completely revamped pretty soon too.
Oh, nice. Where did the giving away a pizza come into play?
It was just a running gag. Like whenever I would do like a live stream or a post or something, I'd say, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to have some pizza. And then that last one was a lie. Yeah. And it just kind of caught on and became like my thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like one day when we were playing around with a mock-up of a new, updated the site, this was a couple years ago. There's this guy that works for me, Georgie, who for whatever reason I had a screenshot of his head. And like I mocked that up and put it on and said, look what he did. He wanted me to do this and now I have to do it. And then that turned into, we should have a hidden Georgie's head show up somewhere on the site every day. That's that's kind of inappropriate. But then it turned into a piece of pizza that shows up every day. So every day somewhere on the site, there's a piece of pizza. And if you click on it, you win $6 to spend on the site. So
oh, no kidding. I have never even noticed that.
I've never gotten it either, if that makes you feel any better.
I've never seen the piece of it. I didn't even know that's like one of those hidden Easter egg things, right?
Yep.
That's very fun.
Yeah.
I think even I've seen and this might have been a couple of years ago. I swear I saw something even like a mock, like a legit pizza shop in Myrtle Beach.
You're thinking, well, there is a T-shirt out there that kind of like looks like that. That's probably what you're thinking.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah.
There's a T-shirt on our March store that's like legit pizza.
Yeah.
It's really just about the site, but it's done in the style of a pizzeria. So.
Yeah.
We have a few options like that. Like you have there's like a G.I. Joe themed one and like a Friends themed one. So.
Yeah. Good stuff.
We also did an April Fool's joke a couple of years ago where we said we were going to open a donut shop.
Oh yeah. I remember that one too. Yeah, that's good. So as well, probably coming up, you guys always do some great stuff around the holidays. Black Friday, you guys do a huge push on Black Friday and pushing. We always do real well. That's actually one of the only times that we ever do a discount on anything is during Black Friday. But you guys really help support the platform. So I know you'll be busy there as well.
Yeah, that was fun. I don't know and we haven't planned that out yet, but I mean, a little bit, but not really. But last year it was fun. I did several live streams all weekend. I sent pizza to people that won there. So that ended up being a little side story, but a huge mistake because I tried to pay for it. Like one of them was in, I think, India and one was in another country. And both times my credit cards got flagged for trying to buy pizza in those countries. And not only the bank wouldn't even let me call them and get them undone. I had to send in these forms and my driver's license.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. So if I do that kind of thing in the future, I will just give them a gift card or something.
Yeah. Hell, if I had been a bit more clever, I should have had some donuts or pizza delivered to your place, to your office for the show here. That'd have been good. All right. Well, listen, Chris, thanks so much, man, for jumping on. I appreciate it. Always so great. And thank you again for your influence and your support over the years for me and our agency and stuff that you do. So that is great. Next week, folks, we've got Mr. Terry Samuels coming on. And if you know Terry, Terry is doing He's doing a bunch of stuff right now, but I'm sure he's going to talk about some of his on-page mastermind that he's been rolling, as well as schema. So come join us with Terry Samuels next week. It's going to be fun. All right, Chris, that is it. And hey, man, enjoy the rest of the week. Appreciate it.
All right, you do the same. Thank you.